All right.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's 6:08. We have formed a quorum. We're going to go ahead and start the meeting. We're going to begin with our invocation. If you would like to bow your heads with me. May we come together with open hearts and clear minds, seeking wisdom for the decisions before us. Grant us the clarity to lead with fairness, the courage to do what is right, and the compassion to serve all members of our community. May our efforts reflect integrity, unity, and a shared commitment for the good of the town. Amen.
Amen.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We are going to move to our first order of items, which is the adoption of the agenda. Do you think we have some updates to make?
Yes.
Mhm.
I'd like to add two things to your new business. Number 6 would be the resolution expressing the town council's opposition to the proposed value and transmission line. And number 7 is the designation of council member.
Yes. And if those in the general public, I know it was a late supplement, there is copies of the proposed resolution of opposition for the transmission line on the table. Or maybe they're all on.
I would like to remove approval of the minutes of May 20th, 25 because of discrepancies with my minutes.
Okay.
I have Sylvia present but coming late. And so I'm going to listen to the recording. We're going to provide it to them.
Okay, so remove that from the consent items. Okay. So we're moving the date of leaving February. Okay. Do I have a motion?
A motion to adopt the agenda. Yeah. Motion to adopt. That's amended. Yes.
Is there a second? Any discussion?
Ms. Hart. 4. Mr. Maynard.
4.
No.
4.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. We're going to move to the next item, which is the consent agenda. Of course, that's the removal of the May 20th minutes, but the approval of the February of 2026 and consideration for the council appropriations. Are there any questions?
A motion to approve the consent agenda.
Any discussion?
Mr. Maynard.
4.
Mr. Purcell.
4.
4.
Motion passes. We're going to move to our next section, which is our public comment. This is the section of the council meeting that actually provides our public citizens an opportunity to discuss matters that are not listed on the printed agenda to an open or public hearing. Any person wishing to bring a matter to the attention of the council should state your name, an address, and the matter in which you wish to discuss. You'll be given 3 minutes to discuss the matter. Just know it's not typically an open Q&A, it's just a discussion, but we would respond to you within 30 days if there are specific questions posed. We have quite a crowd tonight for St. Patrick's Day. I'm quite excited and see lots of green. So, Stephanie, do we have anyone sign up? Miss Butcher.
Good evening. I'm Maxine Butcher and I live at 202 McDonald Street here in the town of Louisa. Currently, I am the president for this year of the Louisa KS Club. The KS Club is a women's organization that started in 1938. It is not affiliated with anything nationally, and we have been in existence for many years. And we are here tonight to request some assistance. Yes, I know it's St. Patrick's Day. However, we want to talk to you about Christmas wreaths. In the early 1990s, the town had old Christmas wreaths, decorations for the holiday. They were not in the best of shape, to say the least. And the KS Club, the women that were in the group, they decided to take on the project. Since then, we have maintained the Christmas wreaths with the assistance of the wonderful town maintenance department. Mr. Jones was always a wonderful person to work with. Mr. Larry is also just equally as much a worker and a gentleman to work with. They put the wreaths up before if they can, before Thanksgiving, and they always take them down. Those wreaths have been up with the garland and the bows and the lights and so forth since the early 90s. And they have been refurbished once, but it's been over 20 years. To say the least, the work that is on the wreaths, the materials, is falling apart. The KS Club, being a local organization that does a lot of good, has a lot of fun, we give all of our money back to the community. We are here because we need some assistance. We love putting the bow, we do the bows, we will fluff the greenery, we will put them on the wagon, and the town, the men put them back up. We've all seen how the town lights up at the holiday, just like it does on the 4th of July. It really makes your heart feel good to live in a small town and to see how pretty it is. And this past year, it was lovely. It was in competition with a neighboring town that looks like a postcard, and ours doesn't look like a postcard. We want to refurbish the wreaths with new greenery. We need resources. And that's what we're here for tonight, to appeal to you in some way or another, with assistance in purchasing the greenery. Jane, we have a show and tell, sorry. Jane has removed all of the lights and all of the greenery. This is the greenery that we need to put back on, and it needs to go all the way around. This is just
3 of these.
yes, that's just the one. We need 3, and in order to do one, it's approximately $80. And that is really the bargain basement that we have researched to find. Approximately, that's just for the greenery. We'll continue to use the lights that we have and the bows that we are fluffing, as I've got them in my car. Jane's got them at her house too. And we will continue to put those back on. We put new bows on last year. And we take them off. We try to maintain them as best we can, but we need help with the greenery. At the present time, you say, well, what's the club doing to help fund this? Right now, we're planning a box lunch sale. One, that's, we never know how much we'll make. There are 42, is that right? 42 wreaths. So that's why we're here. We give, and the money that we do generate from any project, we're very supportive. All of our money goes back into the community. One of our big projects is to give at least one scholarship to a graduating senior. And we've done that for probably more than 20 years. If we have the resources, we'll give 2, and at least one $1,000 scholarship. We don't have a lot of money, but we would love any assistance that you can, because we give to other organizations as our funds allow. And we're willing to do the work. We just don't have the money to repair this. So we have 42 to do. So that's why we're here.
Thank you.
Maxine,
Yes,
how far down, the reads right now don't cover the whole meeting, right?
correct.
How many more would you need to do that? Because people on the unlit side want to be lit. They keep asking, why are we only doing this part when they're down in the other part? We'd like to have the same.
Are you talking east of town towards Monroe?
Yeah.
You have to ask Mr. Larry.
Those are Dominion pools, right? So
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do on the phones too, to get the lighting fixtures and all that up to par. Yeah, approximately, probably, if you're going all the way, the farthest I'll go, if anything, I'm trying to think if there's any poles down there. I think we stopped there due to the fact that there's no poles farther down towards Advanced Auto. But I'd have to verify.
That's all. So,
Yeah, we stopped right now at Hardee's. I don't know if there was any poles that belong to Dominion.
well, that's what, I didn't know. That's why I was asking. So right now you have enough to cover all.
We can go from parties all the way up to.
Weimar's.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't have the frames for it. Those frames were originally built by Mr. Ray Sowers and Greg Madison. And that's who built them. That's who put them together. They were not store-bought.
And my next question is, you guys have done an awesome job. It looks beautiful every year. Do you have an estimate of about how much money you think it would be to get you all the stuff that you need in order to do the upgrade?
$3,360.
Really? Not 50 cents?
$1,200, I don't know if the tax would be,
For shipping.
yeah.
So we're talking $3,500.
Give or take. We'd probably be able to get a tax exempt from the municipal government, so we don't have to pay taxes on it.
And my last question for you is, when do you need this stuff by? Like yesterday or?
Well, ideally, we need to have them all assembled and ready for the men to put them up before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And just to, Jane, how long did it take you to take all of that off?
I forgot. I think it was like in,
Couple of hours, wasn't it?
I think it was an hour and 40 minutes just to take it.
That's just to take it off, because there are lights on there too,
And it's wrapped around the green.
and they're wrapped around the frame.
If I may, we have an item in new business, downtown events line item. I will propose in the new budget. I think I can find sufficient funds for that in the new budget. That would start July 1. You would have ample time. Unless you can find a grant.
Well, we're not now, we are not a 501c3 because we're so small. We don't have mega bucks and we give it away. We don't.
It's okay. We're gonna develop a line item. And I'm also gonna be looking at grants. You know, the county's tourism department is now really helpful with us. So there's other opportunities, but that line item would be ideal for that.
That sounds lovely. It's fun.
That's
But we're trying to get the things nailed. Because Jane's done research, and if that's possible, to get them on sale, as you know, they're trying to clean out the warehouse from 24, 25 to get the new stuff in. So that's our estimate.
That's the last question I have to order. Yes. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to fully support the funding for the wreath replacement and for Stuart to work with the Louisa KS Club to figure out the best funding mechanism that work.
Thank you, John.
Discussion.
Okay,
That's the motion.
So what's the motion for Stuart?
For, yeah, so for us to fund.
I think what I was hearing from Stuart was that he was going to look at it as part of the budget process. And then that would be approved as part of the budget process. So I don't know that we need a motion tonight to approve it because it would be part of the budget process for next year. Or did I hear that incorrectly?
That's my proposal, that we place this in the new budget.
Is that what you want to go with? Okay, that's the way I'll word it. And I think that's what I said, but,
We don't need a motion for that.
Yeah.
yeah, because this isn't even an item yet.
Right. We just need to look into it.
Yeah.
Listen to staff.
Okay,
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, KS, for all that you've done for the town. We truly do
We
appreciate it.
enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
It makes us feel good. It's our town. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else who hasn't signed up that would like to express some public comments? All right, we're going to close public comment and move to our next item on the agenda, which is the comments and discussion by members of town council. You have nothing?
yeah, I have a few comments. I have a couple of comments. One is based on, the proposed value transmission line plan. There is another, and I'm just gonna tell, because people seem to have focused in on this one transmission line and not paid attention to the 168-mile line that's gonna come straight through the middle of Louisa County. And it's all gonna be underground. Nobody talks about that one. They're only focused on this one. But when we refer to this resolution in another part of the minutes, I just want to let you know that there are actually two. And the other one is underground and is already in progress. So there's been so much focus on this link that nobody thought about the alternatives that are already out there that could be emphasized. So there is more than just public opposition to this transmission line that can be done. And I'll talk about that when we talk about the resolutions, but this resolution does not address what the alternatives is. That's why I'm saying that. And the rest I can't talk about right now because we haven't discussed it yet. So that's all I have.
Any other comments or discussion? All right, we'll move to the next agenda item, which is the old business and the discussion and action on the Historic Museum building space.
Okay. Turn to your agenda item in the packet, please. So I had a meeting with the museum director, took a tour of the wonderful museum. It is a real wonder and gem and amazing asset to the town and the county. I spoke with the director about the barracks and this use of storage space there. There's an agreement in August 21, 2025 to allow the museum to use our side of the barracks for 6 months while the museum renovates the back porch for an additional museum display, which I believe is funded by a grant, which will be a fantastic addition to the space because they have limited space there. The director estimates that the museum will need another 3 months to complete the work and relocate the items from the barracks to the museum once the display is complete. Therefore, I think it's a real help to them to let them use that space to complete the museum display. My recommendation is to allow an additional time extension of 3 months to June 17th, 2026 to use, well, our side of the barracks. Understand we typically use the left and they use the right. But to use our side of the barracks for another 3 months, this agreement would then conclude by June 18th. If not before, I understand from the director, they do anticipate completing in May. So my recommendation is to grant a 3-month extension. Anyone from the museum like to comment?
Are there any questions? Stuart, I appreciate you getting all this to us ahead of time. Thank you.
Motion to give them another 3 months till June 18th, 2026, to use the barracks.
I have that motion to June 17th, just was read.
Oh, June 17th, yeah.
You're fine with that amendment, I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Can we call?
Mr. Rochelle? Ms. Warren? Four. Mr. Henry?
Motion passes unanimously. We're going to move into the next item, which is new business. The first action item is discussion action of the addition of a downtown events line item in the budget in both revenue and expenditures. This would be part of the budget adjustment that we currently don't have a line item for downtown events. We have created a downtown events committee, and the hope is that that revenue that's generated through activities of the committee that you guys approve of would basically self-sustain it. It wouldn't actually come out of taxpayer funding, but we have to first create a line item to be able to do that.
Madam Mayor, based on what you just said, this is not a funded category except by activities from your committee.
Correct.
So it is not, there's no money we will be putting into it.
I think
So how will that work with paying for stuff with the town, paying for stuff for the Louisa KS group?
Budgetarily, you would approve the addition of a new line item. Once I get to audit, I've spoken to the auditor today, anticipate the financials in the next couple of weeks. Once the audit is approved and we look at the year-to-date actuals, when we do the budget adjustment to rectify some of the overages in line items, but not in departments, we would then place sufficient funds at that time.
Okay, so just to clarify, you will put the sufficient funds in to cover the Louisa KS request, and that would be it.
That one would,
Except for what she's gonna generate through her separate committee.
well, her request, in my opinion, could be addressed in the new budget in the new fiscal year, not in a budget adjustment, but in the new budget. If you want, this movement would today would create a line item, at which point when we look at a budget adjustment before the end of the year, we could place additional funds in the line item based on your approval at that point.
With the line item designation.
Correct.
Okay.
So there's no money in it now until I have more financial information to make a recommendation.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because if we're commingling two different things,
And it can have funding from the town, but it's not like if we have requests like that, of course. But what we were trying to think through is being good stewards financially. And so at every budget season, they'll have to allocate, but the goal would be that the revenue generated would match that allocation. So it's a wash.
So we are allocating money.
Yes, but it would be only allocated based off the revenue that they're expecting to get.
That's for a later discussion, because I'm trying to see how we're supposed to figure out how to allocate something when we have no idea of what it is they're going to do with whatever amount in. So,
We need more information to actually
do what you're
put
saying.
money in the line.
That was it.
The KS money, would it be better to put that in with the downtown beautification line item under general fund? That way you keep your line item separate and we don't have to worry about commingling money.
Yeah.
I prefer to do that rather than bumping things to that same line item.
Mhm.
And we'll just create this line item for downtown events, then we should be an estimate, but let's just budget how much we want to put in there. Or how much we think, should say.
Okay.
So you need a motion to create the line item.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we need a motion from budget line item.
We are making an amendment to the adopted budget, and I think there's no reason not to do that. There's no
Reason not to.
Yeah, there's no reason not to put council on the record, which helps you staff
Okay,
implement.
so the motion would be for the upcoming budget.
I thought we were talking about, you don't even make any motion about the upcoming
Well,
budget.
that's why I'm
No,
saying that.
that's gonna be in
Yeah.
the budget, which will speak for itself.
Yeah,
That's part of your budget workshops, that's part of the budget resolution, that's part of the manager's budget that's attached to that resolution.
yeah.
But if you're talking about giving him the direction to, in this current fiscal year, create a line item, should revenue, you will ultimately need to appropriate money to that line item. This is not an appropriation. It sounds like to me, this is more giving staff the ability to have that line item that was not originally part of the current fiscal year budget added to it. So if and when money comes in, then you all can then appropriate that money to that line.
Right, right. That's why I was asking about the time.
This fiscal.
So right now, if you approve this, gives me authorization to go into BAI and create a new line item. There will be no money in it till we do a budget adjustment or roll it over into the fiscal year.
Okay, so make sure I get this right. I'd like to make a motion to add a line item for downtown events in the budget
Current fiscal
for
year.
the current fiscal year. Thank you.
Any discussion? Clerk, can we call roll?
Ms. Hart,
Sure.
Mr. Henry,
For
Mr. Purcell.
Motion passes. We're going to move to the next item, which is discussion and action of we actually have two special events. We'll start with the first one, which is the Easter egg hunt, and I'm so excited about it. On March 28th through Parks and Recreation, hosted at the Louisa Fairgrounds.
Yes, the police chief and I discussed this. It looks like a wonderful community event. Noted that they're anticipating up to 400 participants. That sounds like a real community event to me.
Yeah, we have this very time of the year. I think this, we normally do it, I think it's very clean or Walton Park.
Yeah, so they've done it at Walton Park and
Yeah.
so I'm excited to have it back in the town.
Make a motion, we approve the special events application request for the Easter extravaganza.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call roll.
Mr. Henry,
Four.
Beth,
Four.
Four. Motion passes unanimously. We'll move to the next item, which is also another special. We got a fun time coming up in the spring. Another special event hosted by the Historical Society for Heritage Day.
So this one sounds really unique to the county. To include historical craft vendors, living history demonstrators, these activities. And I believe they shoot a cannon.
Yeah. And guns
Okay,
and horses.
and blacksmiths. Okay, well, it sounds like we were in Louisa style.
It's a great. Yeah.
So, that was wonderful.
I make a motion that we approve the special events application request for Heritage Day from the Louisa County Historical Society to be held. Well, there's no date on it.
April 25th, I think.
Oh, really?
It's on their flyer, April 25th. I saw it somewhere.
25th, 2026.
Second.
Any discussion?
I do have one discussion item that's primarily for Mr. Larry. Did you notice that the application specifically references that the grass needs to be mown?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, so
Chart,
Four.
Mr. Henry,
Four.
Motion passes unanimously. We're going to move to the next item, which is discussion and action on the sewer fee policy.
Okay, please turn to your packet. The item is titled for issue analysis. Town sewer fee, let's get into the town sewer fee connection policy. Everybody with me? Okay, so I put a lot of background in this, but let me just move more succinctly. Our adopted fee policy for sewer connection says that a 4-inch sewer line connection is $252,000 plus installation costs. This is because the facility standard manual stated that a minimum 4-inch line is required for a sewer connection. When a town customer requested the connection, the invoice was presented with the 4-inch the adopted policy for the 4-inch sewer line. And the customer then looked at other options when confronted with a bill approaching $300,000. So my analysis, you'll see that in the I4 analysis, a $252,000 connection fee for a 4-inch sewer line, while consistent with the 4-inch line requirement in the standards manual, is perceived as unfair to a user who may be contributing much smaller amounts of water and waste into the system on a daily and monthly basis than a larger residential or commercial industrial site. Basing the connection fee on the 4-inch sewer gravity line based on the manual requirement guarantees from the outset that almost all sewer connections will start at this high fee as a point of discussion, because a sewer line can't have less than a 4 to 8-inch connection to remove the waste. So the staff then discussed with LCWA their sewer fee connection policy that they use to calculate the cost of this fee. We discussed this with the Water Sewer Committee, which is based on the meter size and the monthly gallon of water into the system. Everybody with me?
Mhm.
They're not setting the fee based on the sewer pipe size they're looking at the water intake and the waste inflow into the system, which is perceived as more fair to the customer. So they're looking at meter size and the monthly gallons of water into the system. That's their policy. Gallons per month is, and meter size is the basis for the sewer fee connection. So the Water Sewer Committee reviewed that and agreed it's a preferable way to conduct the sewer connection discussion. If we adopt this policy, this would reduce the invoice to basically a fee associated with the minimum commercial 1-inch fee because the residential fees are small. But this would reduce our fees to approximate a 1-inch fee, the 1-inch line in meter size. So the Water Sewer Committee met and recommend we adopt the LCA policy to be consistent with them for calculating a connection fee based on water, monthly gallon of water use in meter size. So I recommend, as per the Water Sewer Committee, that we amend the FY 2025-26 adopted schedule of fees to include the calculation of a commercial sewer connection fee based on gallons per month of water usage. No questions?
Just a little clarification. When I first did that invoice together, I wasn't under the impression that it was based on pipe size. But when I spoke to Brad, our fee schedule was originally set up based on the meter consumption. We're just missing the verbiage, to be honest with you. It's not as in depth as the county. So when you look at it, you think, all right, this is a 1-inch meter at a 4-inch laydown. You're going to charge for 4-inch laydown for this. Even though the verbiage is in there, tapping fee, it is based on that meter size that you charge the, I know that now, but if you look at the paperwork Stuart put together, the county's clearly square in terms of how ours doesn't. It gives you a pipe size, so automatically you're gonna think if it's 4-inch clean out, just standard practice for installation for a clean out, you're gonna figure I'm gonna charge a 4-inch tap. But after speaking with Brad Humphrey, he made it clear that the verbiage might not be there, but it is based on flow, needs to get a 1-inch meter to 1-inch sewer connection. So I think more the verbiage in it needs to be copied from what the county has. It's a lot clearer for somebody who's not used to dealing with it. Where ours doesn't have that verbiage in there, where you can say, okay, if I wanted to meet on the sewer, once I figured that out, we advise an invoice to reflect that. But if you're looking at it, you weren't able to put it together, you'll assume that it's based on pipe size.
Yeah, because it's not a written policy. We need to clear this up if you want to go that route.
Yeah, I think
Does everybody understand that what's changed?
yes, so I think the goal is just to provide clarification, alignment with the Louisa County Water Authority, understanding that the meter is based off the flow leading into the meter. And so not only from a prohibitive space of businesses and attracting businesses, we need to make sure that we're charging them for the usage, but we also want to oversell capacity by selling out 4-inch meters because that takes away our capacity. So
what we recommend putting in there is what the LCW has.
I was the upsizing, I was in the act capacity.
You say you're only gonna use a 1-inch amount of quantity over 3 months or whatever one period they have, you use more than that. You have to pay the difference in tapping fee no matter what you have a 1-inch meter or not. But that'll always recoup some of that money by saying, hey, for these last 6 months, you use a way above the projected. So now you pay for capacity of a meter that's nuts.
Right. So we would model our policy based on LCWA's and even put our in my analysis a chart that shows exactly I put in our fees using their table. Okay.
I think we need to, a little bit more wording.
More wording?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is good, but, if they want to, we don't have it in here where we charge for fees, extra fees for, I didn't see it.
What is worded in the LCWA one is like, we have to Metro. I have full access, so I can see how much usage you've actually used compared to what you projected over the 6-month period, and you'll be able to put up.
No, I'm talking about how much it cost us to put the line in from.
This plus installation costs, that's why I put on the invoice. We won't, it'd be case by case, Roger, because we wouldn't know depending on the area, if we have to go an extra 100 feet for set of manhole. That's why.
Well, I'm just saying, we need to put it in here that we charge for that.
But it's definitely on.
It is. So it's on the,
It wasn't like,
So the only change to the existing adopted policy is a footnote that would say the calculation. Yes.
I just didn't see it on here.
yeah.
And the other thing is, allowing them to do it and not have that extra cost.
yeah, I present that to them when they talk about works out. Do you have the option of us doing it? Or are you doing it, just paying the connection fee? That's always an option for that good one. They didn't get that rate in the Army.
We need to have that,
It wouldn't hurt.
that we give them the option of doing that.
If you're gonna do that, though, you just gotta add in there that they need to be licensed to work within the eight-hour level.
Yeah.
Pretty much on
I
it.
think that's a,
I think staff.
So.
To address that, I just keep it as plus installation cost. That can be dealt out with the contractor and town staff. I will go too into detail on
Okay.
what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it.
I just didn't want to have to come back and put more in there.
What you're going to, if I may, so every year when you adopt your budget, you also adopt a new schedule of water and sewer fees. Okay, so that's by ordinance, by law, by state law, it has to be done by ordinance, along with any zoning related fees. So just my recommendation based on this whole exercise would be when we put together, when staff puts together, and I work with staff on this, puts together the ordinance for next year, for that you will consider with this budget, upcoming budget year on connection and usage fees, that we just flesh out the ordinance a little more, basically to mirror, to reflect this discussion, right? And to mirror what LCWA is doing, and it won't take much. I think it sounds like what we're really doing is, this just reflects past practice.
Don't think LCWA has, or they let the contractor
Yeah, I don't know.
do anything, so. Yeah.
But I hear you on that, but this, what I'm proposing, because these things are happening right now, is that this goes into effect immediately.
I don't disagree.
Okay,
Yeah.
then the footnote, all we need is we talked about this. Did you want to elaborate on a footnote to the existing policy?
just think it's copying literally verbatim what the water authority has as their footnotes, including, I think from Anthony's recommendation, the upsizing of the meters, reduction of meter hookup charges, but just changing it to town of Louisa.
Understood, but my motion that I recommend is simply a quick solution. Amend the FY 2025 adopted schedule of fees to include this sentence: the calculation of commercial sewer connection fees is based on gallons per month of water usage. That's it. That's all we would do for that.
For now, and then,
For that.
okay,
So that way we can then have discussions tomorrow with our customers.
Yeah.
I have two comments. One, this section in code was for and county already. It just doesn't come before council. It never does come before council. And so it's not exactly the same as what is here. And it probably isn't alignment with what that will have. And my second is not really a question of questioning what you're saying is, do we have an idea what the installation fee could be? I mean, we're lowering it. Was that 350,000 plus the installation fee originally, or did that include the piping
They
installation?
include all the materials, the labor.
Okay. So does this 27,000 include the installation fee too? That's why I'm asking.
I put together 2 new invoices and sent it to the water and sewer committee as well as Stewart for the change they requested me to make. And it did significantly lower the price. Due to the fact that there's 2 options. The options of us just doing the lateral and absorbing the manhole, which was discussed about it, and us presenting invoice when it didn't have engineering services that moved the manhole, which I think were 55 grand total installation.
Yeah, that's
That's
to
fine.
answer my question. Go ahead. Yeah.
We're still working on that. There's a little bit of discussion still going on. I just didn't have time to look at it till today. So we're still working on what he's sent us in an email. It's not
Okay,
not quite ready yet. So
But this does not include installation.
Let me clarify that. Our current policy is based on sewer line size plus installation costs. That's our current adopted policy. Included in the package.
orders.
By ordinance. So, correct, by ordinance. So installation costs plus the
Tap fee.
plus the tap fee per the line size. That's already in there. All this does that says the installation costs will always be separate. All this does is say we will now use inflow of water to determine the connection fee.
It'll just clarify for anybody else who does not, maybe they look at it and say, okay, it's not based on pipe size, it's based on unit size.
Correct.
Yes.
But the installation cost will always be there because it's part of our adopted ordinance.
So the reason, to clarify then, the reason the cost that was given to him of 350,000 is this 252,000
Because of.
plus your installation. Yeah. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay. John?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the sewer connection fee policy with the recommended staff recommendations or changes.
With the
Your table
with
the analysis and then the added verbiage.
Any discussion? Can we call roll?
Ms. Hart,
For
Mr. Henry. Mr. Costello.
Madam Mayor, just for the record, as I said earlier, the fee schedule has to be adopted by ordinance. But I think what council's doing tonight is not changing the fee schedule, it's changing how it applies the ordinance.
Yes.
Right? So I do think,
Clarify.
and it sounds to me as if this is consistent with recent and past town practice. So it really is an issue, I think, of the ordinance, just didn't have enough clarity in it and to reflect practice. So, as I was saying earlier, going into this next budget season, we can work staff norm to just have this all very clear in the ordinance, so there's no question.
Yeah, that's why I brought up that this part code is already been drafted.
All right, we'll move to the next item, which is the discussion and action on Public Works capital items for purchase.
wait a minute. Okay, so the next agenda item. Please turn to Public Works purchase of equipment. Towards the back.
Okay.
Everybody with me?
Mhm.
Okay. Public Works purchase of equipment, $40,000 was placed in this year's budget for a new tractor. The Public Works Superintendent found one at lower cost, $26,499, which is in your packet, saving $13,501. Public Works now needs 2 new lawnmowers and proposes, here, you pass that up, please. It proposes to use the savings to purchase 2 lawnmowers. Excuse me, for $7,067, $7,285. The lawnmowers are needed now for the upcoming grass season, now that the weather is warm. Public Works is planning to take on more grass cutting at Town Hall and the Oakland Cemetery to save contractor costs. In this little handout, Mr. Larry presented more justification. These have a high usage hours, are experiencing increased mechanical failures, resulting in reduced operational reliability and efficiency. One of the rear discharge mowers has a known spindle issue that's become increasingly problematic. The manufacturer has discontinued the required replacement part, making repairs difficult and unsustainable. We had to get the spindle from Florida, increased costs. It's not viable for continued operations, particularly during peak modes. The frequent breakdowns and maintenance needs are reducing crew productivity and increasing labor time to complete routine mode. Equipment downtime limits the department's ability to maintain public spaces. Benefits include more productivity. He's going to take on more acreage. Will reduce the downtime. And so therefore, to be an efficient organization, we can take the savings from the tractor and purchase the 2 lawnmowers. I recommend that we approve this purchase. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lerner. That's an excellent report.
The question. Did you look at that tractor to see if it was a 2 or 3 speed or?
It was, I think talked to John about it, and so hydrostatic, so it's a lot better than the older ones that have the 2 or 3 speeds. The hydrostatic, it's 25 miles per hour, I think is what it's saying. And for what we're doing, we're looking at a shadow vehicle behind us. And honestly, that 26,499 isn't even source well pricing yet. I'm still waiting to get our source well pricing, so it'll be cheaper than that. For the year and hours on the tractor, the other one I found had 9,000 hours on it. That was close to it. I'd rather just have my brand new tractor than buy a diesel with 9,000 hours on it. I think we'll be happy with it. It'll give everything we have. I'm gonna go and still take a look at it. But she said she basically getting all those hours on it. When they had it, were 7 because there was like a demo model. But she said she can get one from anyone. Sales places she has that has no miles on it.
Will she let you try it in?
Oh yeah, honestly, it's a warranty, so I haven't had time. All the reviews and everything I put on said it's meant to handle 20+ acres. We don't have that much bush hog. It's got plenty of lifting power. Look at the motor was pretty decent.
Yeah.
For the kind of hours we're gonna put on into it, honestly, I think the tractor will last us a lifetime. Got the rocks and calves. I know you're worried about that transmission, but when they find it's hydrostatic, I don't think it's a game shoot.
I tried the 2-speed massive orders, and it was either too slow or too fast.
Gotcha.
To do what I wanted to do, and the 3-speed is just so much better.
I think I've been at 3-speed, so I'll look back at my notes. I didn't bring my notes with me. I apologize.
And so just summarizing, you're looking at purchasing a tractor, saving money so that you can use that to purchase 2 additional mowers that would then, from a perspective, save the town money overall because it's less contractor that we would have to utilize for Oakland and grass
Yeah,
cutting.
you guys
And would have to-
And I put him in charge of grass cutting this year. He's got a full schedule. He gives us an extra day on Friday
Mhm.
where we should have everything done by Friday. If everything goes well, we're really taking like that. We'll be able to catch back up on Friday. It will town hall meeting.
One question.
Mhm.
So you haven't got the government pricing. I can't believe.
No,
That should be slightly lower to where we won't have to appropriate any money for the mowers.
I don't think I'll have to appropriate money for North anyways. I never bought that the water sewer scheme, so I was approved to buy as the price went up. Tractor, sewer jetter hose, sewer jetter head, and that's it.
Same line, though, is it,
Replacement.
is a whole.
Well, honestly, I could pull it from sewer because we mow the pump station. We would mow the field down at the wastewater treatment plant. That's one place we bush off. Plus, we'll be able to do some right of way stuff when it gets big enough.
I'm gonna ask that question because I don't think we need to appropriate any money if he has some savings coming down the line. I think we should. We don't need to do that. I'm not gonna hold off. So if it's all within the budget line of placement, we don't need to even have a motion. We just really need to have clarity with council.
This is really more informational.
Yeah.
Because I only have authority to spend $5,000. So I'm still new. I don't want to overstep.
I think it's appropriate in our budget.
We're talking about budget. I just want to put all on the table with the same.
Just for the tractor, so we're cutting the price of the tractor down and getting 2 more with. if we take over Cuddy Town Hall and, Oakland, uh, those two places will pay for those lawnmowers in the first year.
That just kind of got a little island to paying for it on 33 that we walk by out there.
So, right, so, you know, by taking those over, it'll pay for that, those lawnmowers.
I have a question too, when you said.
I was gonna say, do we all agree?
Almost. But, Anthony, my question is, this is a front end loader,
Yeah, don't worry.
so you can get a bucket, you can get a plow, you can do all kinds of things, besides cut grass.
Yeah, we'll get forks for it. My plan is in the next budget to ask for a plow, so we can plow with it a little bit. Yeah, it's got a lot of possibilities. It's got, me and John were talking about, me and Roger talking about, it's got the Bobcat quick attach, so the possibilities are in front of there. Let's see.
Yeah, that's what I like about this one. It's not, is the multi-use function
Yeah.
by buying the additional
I
attachments.
can know a little shop down there. Yeah, one place to be, and he actually dragged cars and loaded your car and shit, that's true, so it's got money to spend.
I have no question. That was it.
You all agree?
Yes.
So I'm good to go.
Sam. All right, we're gonna move to our next item of new business, which is the supplement. Sorry, Stephanie, appreciate you so much though, and you, Jeff. You're the real MVPs tonight, which is the resolution expressing the town's opposition to the proposed Valley Link transmission line.
Does somebody want to read it or?
I mean, I don't need to read it, but if you would like, I mean, the kind of impactful thing that we want to think through is, of course, there is some direction to town leadership to ensure that this is provided to Valley Link, as well as to our state and U.S. congressional delegations representing the town of Louisa. I know that they're already acutely aware of our position on it, but we want to make sure that we were speaking to kind of some specificity regarding the transmission line. It is proposed to go at least one of the routes directly outside of the town of Louisa, coming into the town, and would have very high detrimental impact to our businesses, to our residents, and want to make sure that we are standing in unification with our community and the other local government as well.
I'd like to see it more opposed to a complete thing and not just one path. Right, to be in unison with the county and everybody else.
So would you like for it to say in the last second to last paragraph, instead of its efforts to develop the proposed line, just remove that to develop this project?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Again?
We're trying to get more in unison with the county and everybody. We're not just opposing one path, we're opposing the whole
Project.
project.
I have a couple of questions.
I was fine as that, as it was written.
Oh, you just wait, okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
I have one was with the second paragraph. What does that mean? One of the proposed routes passes within feet of the town of Louisa.
It passes within 400 feet.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, then we should probably say that. Within feet, it's, this is a document coming from the town. But it's not 400 feet, it's not exactly 5 feet, 6 feet.
I would say approximate, if this is what I would say, approximately
Right.
400 feet,
Yeah.
that's the data.
There's nothing there. That's why I'm asking. And the other is that this is the SEC. We're not dealing with local politicians, we're dealing with the SEC. If the SEC denies the transmission line, it goes to FERC. who then makes the final decision. And FERC is FERC. Nowhere's on here do we offer a alternative. And there are alternatives. So my question is, do we want to just say we are totally opposed to the proposed Valley Link transmission line? Or do we want to say we're totally opposed to this transmission line as presented? And we would like consideration of the underground high voltage direct current lines that you're installing in the other areas that are much longer. So they're already doing that. But we're not giving any alternative here. We're just saying no. The reality is we have more people moving in. We've got more commercial entities moving in. Power is power. If we don't put in power plants, you got to have power lines. Power lines do not have to be above ground. They can be below ground. So I don't know if we want to just say, we're totally opposed to the whole project, or we're opposed to this project, but we would like them to consider the alternative of using buried high voltage direct current lines, which is already used by PJM.
Well, it does give them direction for a more less impactful route. Utilizing
That including underground.
Yeah, including.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it.
Also transmission methods.
Yeah,
Methods.
and other transmission methods.
That's that.
That's it.
You got those edits, Jeff?
Yeah, I'll make these, send them to Stuart tomorrow.
Appreciate you.
I have to say, Mr. Ford, you pulled this together
Like a wizard.
brilliant. Down to the nuance,
Those little birdie gave some information.
impacts the view shed of one of the main thoroughfares. I mean, it's a real nuance there. Impressive. Quite impressive. It's organized it.
That we adopt a resolution expressing town's opposition to both values and transmission. What's that?
With the edits.
Yeah.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr.
Any
Hager,
trouble?
For
Mr. Purcell,
Or
Art, four.
We're going to move to the next item, which is the last item of new business that was added in, which is we received a letter that our sweet council member Danny Crawford has resigned as a council member. He does have a little bit of time left on his term, and of course that would limit you guys down to 4 council members. So, I can certainly pass the very short resignation around to everyone, but would like for council to kind of think through the next steps moving forward on consideration of potentially doing an interim appointment of a council member until you can think about a special election with the other 2 general elections.
Want me to provide some?
This is your show.
So the town's been through this before, so, most recently with the mayor. The difference with the mayor is under state law, council must appoint an interim mayor until a special election can be held. You're not required by state law to appoint an interim council member. You have the ability to. If you don't do it, the circuit court also has the ability to do that. So that's a 45-day process in state law. The other thing, if you want to consider making an appointment, you can go through what we've done before with the vacant mayor position, and that is advertise it, put it on the website, have a deadline for applications. At next month's meeting, you can consider those in closed session. You can decide whether or not you want to interview people, and then you may end up having to have a special meeting to conclude. I think it actually took us 48 or 9 days
So,
last time.
you have to have a public meeting in 7 days.
Probably years old. Yeah, with the mayor. That's people. Is there any help, Lars? Yeah, so there's a process, and I'll provide more guidance on that. The other thing we have to do within 15 days of the vacancy is effective today. So in 15 days, we need to file a petition with circuit court, to hold a special election. In this case, since there's so much time left on the term, we can't get by with the interim for the remainder of the term. So the interim person will only serve through, if you appoint an interim, would only serve through the special election. Based on the timing, I think we would ask for the court to, for that special election to take place in November at the general, same time as the mayoral special election. So that way we don't have to, have a special costly day just for that election. So that's it, two things. That's the other track that we need to do. And I think usually when we do that petition, we'll let the court know the council plans or doesn't plan to appoint an interim, in the meantime to serve. So, that's the time and that's the statute. So it's up to you all if you want to talk about getting that process started. We do by law have to file the petition for the special election. It's up to you whether or not you want to start the process to appoint an interim. That takes some time to comply with the code.
Well, I think we need to go ahead and start searching for, interim. I agree.
Jeff, do they need to motion to start that process to move forward with the interim, or just all of them
That's fine to provide staff.
direction to? So we,
I'll make a motion to forward with the search for a council member appointment, interim appointment.
Yeah.
That's right.
any discussion?
Just was answering some clarification questions. Do you want to have a deadline on submission?
I think and Jeff help us kind of flush that out over the next with
I
staff.
just want to make sure we're not happening.
Yeah, we'll look. We got 45 days, so.
You know, should we send? Mr. Brazil.
Four.
During.
Okay, motion passes. We are going to move to the next item, which is committee appointments. So with the adoption of our bylaws last month, the committee shifted. There were some that were combined because there were a lot of committees, like 10 of them. So they've now been broken down into the 7. I am throwing some things at the wall right now, with Danny's departure, but I have them listed out for you. Our Public Works Committee, and they are all described and kind of what the scope of each of those committees are that in the bylaws that you all adopted. You got the packet in there. The only kind of updates that I would need to make is on the Finance Committee, removing Danny, and sorry, John, gonna put you in there. Under the Community Development and Events, we'll also remove Danny and place Sylvia there. Vicky, I'm going to have you move to the chair of the Cemetery Committee. Did you have a lot of information at our last meeting, and put Roger on there with you.
Could you please go through, because you appointed in January. So can you go through the whole thing, because you're now reappointing?
Based off the bylaws and the committees that were.
I'm not arguing with why you're doing it.
Yeah.
You just need to tell me exactly who's where. That's all I'm
Do
asking.
you not have this sheet?
No.
It's in, go back to new business. Last page.
I'm stuck in the second. Mine was stuck in the front row here.
Yeah, mine.
Thank you, Anthony.
No problem.
Yeah, you know.
So you're not having to like scribble down and write everything. Well, we had already done that. That was a duplicate earlier.
So
Just go through each one, correct? So she.
Do you need me to go through each of those? Or just the changes?
I think you should go announce all of them.
So for Public Works, we have John Purcell and Roger Henry. Public Safety, Vicky Hart and Sylvia Rigsby. Finance will be Sylvia Rigsby and John Purcell. Personnel, gosh, Sylvia and John Purcell. See, this rambling. Community Development and Events, Roger Henry and Sylvia Rigsby. Cemeteries, Vicky Hart and Roger Henry. And Intergovernmental Relationships, Roger Henry and Vicky Hart. Disclaimer, they're probably going to change again once we get somebody appointed. Again, to just make sure that we're load leveling appropriately.
Okay, so cemeteries is Roger and Nick, so.
Yes. Fluid, that's going to be the term of the year.
No, that simplifies, we can have some joint meetings then.
Yes, that is another intentionality behind it. All right, we can move into the standing committee reports. I think the only meetings that we had was cemeteries, correct? This month?
I don't know about anybody else.
Do you want to give an update on that?
I thought the water and sewer and everybody else had too.
Yeah, well, they did. I'm just going down the list, and cemeteries is the first.
I can give you a quick update. So we met and Mr. Crawford and Ms. Harper there, and we discussed basically capital improvements to the Hillcrest Cemetery, but also some concepts about how to use the back lot acreage. And as we only have 100 to 120 available plots, and we want this to be in perpetuity for the community, because it's a valuable asset for residents to have that place of historical value and the emotional value of living here, having a place be there. How will we use the back space efficiently? We talked about a new concept called double stacking of lots, which is after analysis is a viable, efficient way, but also I think would be beneficial to the families to be able to put all their family into one space. We also talk about potentially a area for pet cemetery, expanding the columbarium area, and also just taking a more long-term conceptual view of how to use the existing space. I did talk to some folks about we would need a survey to plot out the remaining space in the back. That would need to be in the budget, in the new budget. So anticipate some capital improvements to the road, the bricks at the front, and also a survey, actually for Mr. Crawford's recommendation, to the most effective way to use that remaining space.
To add to that is to acknowledge and to make sure that the public is aware that we have a scatter garden for ashes that's never been used because as a scatter garden because nobody knows we have one. And to look at how we advertise the cemetery. Because right now we don't do anything. And so people are not aware of all these things and options that you have. And there was also costs that we discussed along with the burial to make it no longer a negative on the budget, but a positive because apparently Hillcrest has been running as a deficit. With only 100 spaces left, there will be no more money coming in if we don't do anything. And if we're already at a deficit, it's just going to get worse. So this is why we evaluated the putting in double stacked in the back. And it's actually cheaper for a family to do that, to put two graves into the same space. They can buy it and it's much cheaper to buy totally separate plots. So it's a win for the residents and it's a win for Red Hook Crest Cemetery survival as a financially sustainable entity. And we talked about repairing the roads because the roads need repaired. And the bricks at the entrance lodge, fixing those also, some of the bricks are broken.
So for water, sewer and facilities committees, they did meet. I feel like we probably already discussed most of it. Do you have any other updates?
The water thing just met with the LCWA as well and clarified some historical events. On the same page.
Just like to add that county appointed me on the water authority last night. So,
Wonderful. We did have a great presentation from the Water Authority. Super informative. Very much appreciated them coming in and doing that for us.
yes.
Last is the community events. If you see council members, we placed a tentative suggested recommendation. This is after the community events group met. Steph, is that in? I made my own packet, so put it in staff. Under new business. Just to give you all kind of some thoughts on where the committee is landing with events. Of course, thinking through our vision statement of creating community-centric events that people want to partake in. There's a calendar of each month, suggested days and activities, a very short description of it. I know we will be working with Jeff on like specific waivers if we need to get them, if it's a town hosted event. The first one coming up would be April, hopefully for like an Earth Day cleanup day, going into May to celebrate Memorial Day. June, nothing, because that's usually schools ending, graduation, vacations. Of course, everyone's heard about July 4th in the town through the EDA, which is fantastic. August, I know Matt just discussed the National Night Out, which is another exciting event for our town, possibly a back to school party, but really just wanted to give you guys the recommendations from the downtown events committees and get your thoughts, questions.
I'd like to thank the Point Church for working Saturday and cleaning up on them town hall. Police department still on the parking lot, the yard there. I have to say, those people worked and did a heck of a job. I couldn't believe it. I want to personally thank them and congratulate them for being great people and doing a great job.
Very appreciative of the Point Church members, Purcell Lumber, Ace Hardware, and Wesley Childs and Childs Landscape Enterprises for the support that they provided the town this weekend. It was wonderful. I feel like the police station. It looks pretty good.
Mulching of the rock area to the left and right of the staircase, it looks excellent.
See these bruises?
And they worked back here at the pond and cleared up brush around that. And we took, I think it was 4 loads of brush to the dump from down there. So they did a lot of work there and put gravel down on the walk path. So they did a lot of work.
The only thing I would like to add, and it's really has nothing to do with the town, but it is one of my activities, is I am on the Central Virginia July 4th Celebration Committee. That is for Albemarle County, Louisa County, Nelson County, Savannah, Orange, and it has absolutely nothing to do with town council. So it is a totally separate entity that we are planning events for throughout the summer And it will involve the actual Declaration of Independence, the real one. And it also will involve why you're celebrating the holiday. So it is more focused on the purpose of uh, July 4th and not on fireworks or anything.
Will you keep us updated on the events that you have? So like, I think they'd be great to share with the community.
Well, the community, yeah, it will go out to all the counties involved, but yeah, I'm just letting you know that I am.
Wonderful. Great. I think that's it with committee reports. We want to move to reports from staff.
And there's a few additions to my report. Number two, the preparations for Fourth of July. Just wanted to give you a heads up. We're still working with the chamber on the Fourth of July activities, and I did get finally from Jason the railroads the departures. So we'll work with that, but I don't know if you were aware what the railroads are now saying with each departure, they're gonna have 3 a day that weekend and the weekend before that. They're talking about 1,000 people for each departure for the town. So we'll stay in communication with them. That is just as of an hour or two ago that I received a message with the departure times, which it looks like it'll be 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. 90-minute excursions is what they will have, but they're talking about approximately 1,000 people for each departure.
Each departure, not in total.
Correct.
I
Each
can
departure.
I can add to that go towards the airport, the Richmond International Airport, there is a large Louisa train advertisement sitting right on top of 295. So, and they are picking up a lot more interest from those areas outside the county because of what they've done. They've decorated a car with Louisa on it and they move it. And then they let it sit. And people in traffic could see wherever it is that they've left it on tracks.
And this will be a specialty excursion.
So we'll have to coordinate. It's exciting times for the town, but also as of an hour ago, I'm trying to figure out how we move 300 vehicles out of here during our parade when the train comes back. Hopefully we'll track those people and they'll just stay here for the festivities. So really 3,000. That is what his last mention said. Over what time period?
The course of the day.
Okay, so that's departure and arrival will have roughly 1,000 people lingering around according to the reps. So that's greater than our population coming in 1 hour or 1 day. So we'll just have to coordinate, we might.
He's discussed having transit shuttles and things like that.
We might have to consider again the shuttle. I know we kind of went away from that plan,
Yes.
but I think
Definitely will need the
I
shuttle.
think with 300 vehicles trying to park somewhere in the downtown area, we'll have to revisit the plans for 4th of July for a shuttle.
Yes.
Someone. So that's the only addition there. The VDOT permit, there's a little bit over delay on that, but I'm not worried about those. That has to do with the 4th of July parade and the signage. I still need a Virginia State Police signature on it before I submit it. I anticipated on having it under this writing, but there's a little bit of a delay, but I'll get those done. That's not going to be a problem. The fourth line there, the grant, I did identify a grant where I submitted it, haven't heard anything back, but if that grant goes through, it would be in the amount of roughly $3,000, which would allow me to purchase about 6 of those speed signs that would be able to be displayed mostly on the edge of town for people coming in, as well as in residential neighborhoods based on areas where we see a problem or we get residents inquiring about them, because they will not be per se allowed to be permanently mounted per VDOT. They'll have to be moved. Now, there's not going to be any condition on how often, but also they are found to be more effective if they are moved around from location to location. They on solar. They do have battery and solar. They're very
small, and from my discussions from VDOT, we'd be able to mount them on existing speed limit signs that are already there, but not permanently, but the more permanently or rotational basis. Sounds like they're gonna leave it up to us. And if the grant does not go through for whatever reason, I will probably not be able to get three. I will talk to town manager and we'll probably be able to buy two, possibly three within my current existing budget. So it usually takes a couple of weeks, few weeks to get back. Sergeant Fallon is due to retire. It was April 1 and will be May 1. And I am currently in discussions of him possibly returning in a part-time capacity after he retires. I did receive, well, one about a week ago. We will have a rally or demonstration or gathering on Saturday, April 28th in the downtown area like we had last year. That one on the 28th will be by the Democratic Party. And I just learned this morning about another one on April 12th by the Republican Party at the same location. I do not have any details on that one yet. I tried to reach out to the organizers. First time they're doing it, I haven't heard back from them. What we're looking for, it's a constitutional type activity that's going to be permitted. What I'm hoping for is to establish a good relationship like I have with the other group, where they let us know exactly what they're planning, when they're planning it, what the location is, what their attendance is going to be roughly, and so forth. But it looks like we'll have one on the 28th and then possibly on the 12th of April. I'm not concerned, as you probably noticed, that is the same Easter egg hunt during the same time. I'm not concerned about those two activities at the same time.
April 28th?
28th.
It's not 28th. Also, Little League's opening day, Sarah.
Okay. We'll get it between Sergeant Fallon and I. We'll see if we have additional officer by then. Hopefully we will. And the sheriff's office, if I need to, I will coordinate for staffing and monitoring of those events. But I don't see a conflict between those. Yeah, that's all I have.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chief. Anthony, anything that you need to add?
I'm pretty straight cut forward. I just wanted to point out that Cameron did attend playground safety inspections. There's another course that I'm trying to get into, which is actually certification for inspecting playgrounds. We have playgrounds here at town hall, and just want to make sure they're safe. So I think it's a good investment to send somebody to be able to inspect them, see if they need repairs or things like that. Even more willing to take classes or trainings that I find for them. I find a lot of people Louisa. And I was applying for the virtual grant, got approved for that, so we ended up getting upgraded safety supplies like UR hats, new sign paddles, the MUTC required leg waders for when you're flying, and you had lights. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Appreciate all of your work. I know you've had a lot of water,
Yeah,
Well,
but you guys have been working hard. We appreciate that.
thank you.
How are we looking on that water line replacement?
We are getting close to the point where we should be within the valve. Of course, by then you know that they've had issues with water lines in the room, so they pulled off and they don't want to make that sound. They're pulling. He flushed it today. I'm pulling the first back D sample tomorrow. We're now issue wires of boil water notice, and then pull the following the next day. Once we get those results back, we'll be able to boil water notice. But they'll be in service with water for their bathrooms when we're bringing water. But they just won't be able to drink without water. But they don't say they don't drink the water. They'll be back in service probably for it. They'll be in service, but clear.
Okay, gotcha. But I mean, when will the line be complete?
They're getting close to it now, but I think they only have like 150 to 200 feet left. I told them once we get right around that 55, 60 mark, we'll let you know so I can get with Stuart and call a meeting so we can see if you want to proceed how far we go from that. On the new valve they installed. Well, by Ryan's projections, I do believe he said we might be 100 feet short of that new bell. If that. It'd be ideal to go to the new bell, but that's where that whole thing there is done, but I think you mentioned something about it shouldn't. I'll have to get back with him and I'll be able to get on RC.
I did speak to him today and said, when do you anticipate completing the 600 feet? And he said by the end of next week. So,
The other thing was getting that other, so now we have additional valve, we have valve on the other side of Wyomers, we've got the new valve being installed down by Sylvia's house, and now we have the valve in between it. So that valve in between that allowed us to fill that line and get rid of testing so we can bring it back in service. They continued about the way lane pipe until we run close to that budget deadline that was given us by you guys.
So we're setting up a schedule of operating these valves so that we don't have.
That's all part of the UDF flushing. And that will help, and we honestly do need to start working on this. I need to figure out about renting that valve exerciser or something to clean out our valves. There's a lot of issues we have with our valve is that they're full of sediment, things like that, and hard to get it on. But so it's all the time. The UDF will help. They'll help us identify more valves that aren't working on the or something.
We're see the finish line. Right, clerk?
In addition to my report, I'm working with the town manager to schedule upcoming budget meeting for each committee. I would suggest you guys scheduling a workshop somewhat soon to get it like on the calendar. And I presented to the town manager and to the mayor just a proposal that I had for potentially creating micro grants. So we're kind of flushing that idea out before it gets to council.
Of the initiative, thank you.
I want to put
Nothing more to add to the report, it's already in here, appreciate that. Town manager?
after action report on winter storm Fern. The town resolved a number of water main and manhole issues that resulted from the rapid thaw. 420 West Main, we talked about that. That was really part of the aftermath of Fern, that area with the repeated breaks. So we're still wrapping up the aftermath, the after effects of Fern, soon to be completed. Town staff conducted an after action meeting to discuss ways to improve our efficiency during these type of storm events, not just winter storms, but hurricanes, tornadoes. We had a watch, and town clerk pointed out accurately, we need an emergency operation plan that encompasses all natural events. When I was in Petersburg, they actually had a tornado in downtown Petersburg, came out of the blue. So all these storms produce vulnerability, reveal the vulnerabilities in systems and what you have to fix. So we've done an after action report. Let's see, water main projects, progressing to Fredericksburg Avenue soon with the final tie-in to the new line and some additional paving on the west side down. The Buckingham Railroad at the 203 Fredericksburg Avenue. We've already installed the water tap for the railroad, and I will, with the approval of the new sewer connection calculation policy, we will be in touch with them on the sewer connection tomorrow. Okay. There's a hydrant flushing project scheduled for March 30th. That's coming up. I just want to highlight again the 4th of July planning, attended a meeting with the EDA chamber and town staff, but I saw your list of events, so it's fantastic. This is just one of all the multiple events that we're now ramping up as part of the community events committee. And as we saw this weekend, the real bring community spirit back. Not sure it ever left. It just has an opportunity to manifest out in public. So wonderful to hear. The FY 26-27. That's a misprint. Should be 26-27 budget. Spoke to the auditor today. The field work is 99.9% done. So I've expressed repeatedly till I've been a nuisance that we need the audit for a number of reasons. And particularly to know our true financial picture as we concluded last year. Now, Ms. Francesca has done an excellent report of budget to actual, and I sent it in a weekly update,
Subject to change.
subject to change.
Faster.
But the auditor did confirm that the report and even some of the BAI things in there can be relied upon for what we're doing for the adjustment and the budget adjustment and also forecasting for next year. So good job. Thank you. By the way, I meant to thank all the staff for working so well during the burn. Chief, Stephanie, Mr. Larry, Francesca. We all pulled together. The information was excellent teamwork. We had no injuries, of which I'm aware. Nobody slipped and fell on the sidewalks. Got the sidewalk clean. So excellent job, all you guys. Very impressive. Now back to the budget. So thank you, Ms. Francesca, on that, putting that report together. She's working on another budget to actual forward from July 1 to today.
Subject to change.
Subject to change, but it's good work. So now we'll have 18 months worth of data. And I've already come in and done the revenue forecast for the general fund to the end of this year and projected into next year with the new county's assessment of tax base. And speaking to the county's finance director about the best way to calculate that using the state data. And I'm projecting a 256,000 surplus over budgeted revenues in the general fund, which will then become the basis for the next fiscal year general fund revenue forecast. I've already done that. Okay, so the plan is to do a preliminary budget, continue having these committee meetings, pulling together the data, get everybody's items in the budget transparently so we can move forward and everybody knows what's in it and we can adopt it and get things done for the town. Let's see. Finally, the EDA is now filled, Mr. Kersey as the chairman, and we have a meeting scheduled for the 25th to begin visioning in concurrence with our vision, but with their own vision. They have to undergo some membership requirements, but I'm looking forward to now us being staffed up and with everybody engaged in that committee. Thank you.
Wonderful. I think that's all we have for tonight. I want to thank our guests for hanging with us and the support of our other local government entities. I see y'all trying to hide back there, but we appreciate having you here. Thank you. I will take feedback on things I can do better. Please let me know. Not quite as efficient as but I feel like we got a lot done tonight. So very proud of us.
Take a motion to adjourn.
Any discussion? All in favor?